We saw Suicide Squad, and now we're going to talk about it. It's time for Good or Bad. What's up? This is Good or Bad, the show where we watch new movies and tell you if you should too. I'm Brian, he's Kyle. We saw Suicide Squad. Now we're going to talk about it. We will get spoilers eventually. We'll let you know so you can skip ahead if you don't want to get spoilers. But initially, we're just going to talk about it for a bit. Spoiler-free. Suicide Squad, Kyle, what did you think?
So, it's a movie.
Yes. I desperately wanted to like this movie.
Yes.
Going into the trailers, I liked all the trailers, thought it looked cool, thought it looked interesting. I had high hopes. I wasn't a biggest fan of Batman vs. Superman, but I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people did. So I was tempered going into this, but I had high hopes from the trailers, and I was disappointed. Just to get right to it.
Has DC ever made like a really, really good film?
Batman Begins, Dark Knight.
Those don't count. Those are Christopher Nolan
films,
those don't count.
Not DC movies. I would, in that, if you're going to throw those out, I can't think of one that I would say is really good. I have a lot of hopes for Wonder Woman, but
Tim Burton Batman is pretty
that's good too.
Stupid, but it's also fun. And done.
Then again, you could argue there that's Tim Burton's Batman, not so much. I don't know.
Well,
I take your point, and I don't know if they have yet. And Wonder Woman, I think it's gonna be good. But Suicide Squad, yes. I wanted to love it, and it's kind of a mess. To a bit. I didn't hate it, but it's a bit of a mess, and it didn't work for me.
Do you blame that on the reshoots?
Maybe. I don't know. And this is a similar thing to how I felt with Batman vs. Superman. I'm sitting here in theater, I bet there's a lot of this movie on the cutting room floor that makes this work a lot better. And I have not seen the director's cut of Batman vs. Superman. From all accounts, it makes the movie infinitely better than the theatrical cut was. I've heard from multiple people saying that's the way to see it.
Something with DC is their marketing is spot on. They do great
for the most part. Their Batman vs. Superman marketing was not so spot on. They had a few flubs there for big time, especially with that second BBS trailer where they showed everything.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
But
in general,
the Suicide Squad marketing specifically
was great.
Has been fantastic.
Yes.
Did not service the film at all.
No. And that's the thing. I think this movie was sold on the trailers as it's going to be kind of an over-the-top action funny thing, and it didn't get there to me. It just didn't quite hit that.
I'm not sure if it was because it either took itself too seriously at points where it didn't need to, or it got too loose at points where it didn't seem appropriate.
Tonally, it some movies can do it where you can balance that gravitas with silliness, and this one just couldn't. There were times where it worked.
It was all over the place.
It really was all over the place, and pacing was one of my biggest issues. And this is more of a fault of, I think, not so much the actual movie and filmmakers as it is the fact that you have the concept of what you have to introduce all of these characters in a movie. There's like 6 of them, and we've never met any of them.
I think the best way to appropriate that is with the marketing department.
Yeah.
Do individual
which they did to an extent, but then they spent so much time in the movie doing it that it's like you got to really just slam through everything. And
so if they were to do the marketing approach and just put the film as itself, that would have been fine.
I think that would have worked better, but it just I don't know, man. It's hard to describe because I'm trying to figure out why it didn't work. Because I'm sitting there like all the other...
I think I know why it didn't work is because there's a certain point. Should we get into...
Let's not do spoilers just yet. We'll get there in a second.
There's a certain point where the entire direction of the film kind of goes way upside down. And at that point, there seems to be almost no goal.
Yeah, that was a big part. Towards the second act, and later end of the second act, it kind of loses its direction a little bit, and we almost completely abandon the storyline.
Yeah.
For like a secondary thing, and to go explore, we start exploring characters' motives in like the end of the second act, as opposed to doing anything on the front end.
The worst thing about that is, and I think this is what kills it, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but those the character's motivation gets wiped out at that point.
Yeah.
Because their entire needs to continue just kind of fade away.
Okay, we're going to get into spoilers, because we kind of have to. We're not going to talk about this for too long, because it's, I don't know. But we're going to get into spoilers, so I'm going to put a time code where you can skip to the end to hear our final conclusions and wrap it up. Skip to this number if you don't want to hear spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet. What happened with this movie?
Like I said, what happened with it was you have these characters who have desires. They have motivations. It's not just not getting killed. Some of them have good intent. The only problem with that is when you rip out the rug like they did, all that motivation...
You can spoil if you want.
Okay. All that motivation of them going after the person that they didn't think... I don't know how to put this. Waller was the person in the building the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that that their mission is to save this person.
Yeah.
That takes the rug out, because now if that mission's not what they thought it was, then they're not going to get the reward they've been promised, per se.
Yeah.
The whole idea is that doing that, for at least for the audience, it rips out character motivation. It rips out their intent and what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish.
Well, they give him back. That bar scene is like we need to get these guys to do something again. So they let's all go into a bar and talk about our lives for a few minutes, and then realize
holy shit, was that an exposition dump?
There's a lot of that in this movie.
Yes. My favorite exposition dump was when Flag was basically catching everybody up to speed.
Oh, yeah.
That was literally the biggest... Stop. Hang on, audience. Hang on for a second.
Yeah.
We got to catch everybody up to speed in the dumbest fucking way possible.
Guys, this movie... It's a thing they rely on a lot in this movie. There's a fair amount of flashbacks in it to explain characters' backstories. To go into the backstory of Harley Quinn with the Joker and Deadshot's backstory a little bit. And this movie loves flashbacks so much, it flashes back to itself. And that was the thing that really bothered me. And I gotta imagine that was added in a second cut to help catch... You know what I mean? They showed a test screening. But literally really flashes. We both are sitting there and going, we just watched this 30 minutes ago, movie. Yes. You don't have to show us again.
So, needless to say, a crazy spirit from ancient times.
Yeah, ancient spirit.
Possesses an archaeologist. She gets the powers of... everything.
Some powers.
Teleportation, manipulation,
teleport and move
so they're like, we have her under control. We have this heart of hers. And the first fucking second she gets, what does she do, Brian?
She fucking bails on him and is like, fuck you guys, I'm going and getting my brother and we're taking over the world. And it's like, okay, how did you not expect that to happen?
Yes.
How did you think They're like, well, we have her heart, we can control her. And I'm like, but apparently it doesn't do shit. Well, because she's stabbing it, but then the brother can pop... It's just, this movie is just kind of a mess. And now maybe this movie works for people who are really into the comics and know everything about all these characters and all, because that's another big thing. I don't want to go through this movie, so let's not go through it. Let's get back out of spoilers and just talk about it more generally. Because the biggest problem is I don't care about any of these characters. No. Will Smith you care about a little bit. And that's mainly due to Will Smith being a great actor and not so much. Being a great actor
and actually having... something outside of being a bad guy, or he actually has a responsibility of sorts. So that gives him a bit more gravity. But even that, they
undercut a little bit with... So there's that... It's really heartfelt with him and his motivations, but they... Okay, spoilers again, real quick, just for a second. He has a daughter, and that's what he's doing all this for, is he wants his daughter to have a better life and not see him as a bad guy or whatever, even though he's killed hundreds of people. But she knows he's a murderer, and they make jokes about it.
Yes!
And it seems a little weird.
It seems so... It's missing the point.
Yes, I get there's a thing of even though she loves him anyways because he's her dad and he cares for her and he seems like a good enough father when he's there.
Which the fact that they're making jokes about it
laughing
that,
about him
that makes the whole
people.
Batman thing kind of seem not make any fucking sense.
Yeah,
because why would she have any daddy kills people? That's okay. I'm not gonna let him kill Batman.
Yeah, but you can't kill Batman. Their dynamic is very strange and making her not care that he's a murderer is such a weird, and again, I guess that's how it is in the comics. I don't know, but it just kind of pulled out like this sincere moments of him like bonding with his daughter, and then they're bonding over how to kill people.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that can work. Like it works in a movie like Kick-Ass, like with Nick Cage and his daughter. But that's such a different thing. But this, it's like, there's a dissonance here.
You present this daughter as an honor student,
yes,
a completely unaffected by her dad's life type thing.
But like
she's just a regular girl.
She's a regular kid,
and they completely throw that out the window.
Yeah, and then she's just cool with her dad killing people, and it's just very strange to me. And it took the only part of the movie that worked motivationally for me, and kind of like threw a monkey wrench in it to where I'm like, am I supposed to be happy that he's bonding with his daughter over killing people?
The only other thing that I felt was kind of like, yeah, I could see that, was El Diablo's redemption quest.
Yes, that was good, but again, that's only that character. We don't know anything about him other than he can kill a bunch of people with fire until the very end or the very beginning of the third act, and then they're just like, here's his story now, and it's just, I don't know. It felt like that could have been done better, and it's just a lot of it.
Speaking of killing people with fire, the security camera footage in this movie. It's fucking amazing.
There's a lot of really interesting security camera footage.
The most convenient security camera footage ever.
They have a lot of perfectly framed security cameras of things happening that it's just like, whoop, right in the middle of the shot. Okay, let's get back on spoilers again. I have to have two things saying skip. I want to talk also about...
I don't know, we kind of went spoilers into that part.
No, I know. We went spoilers and stopped for a minute, and then we got spoilers again. Yeah, so it's a sandwich of spoilers. But let's get out of them again. I want to talk about another thing that really didn't work for me, which is the biggest problem I think I had with the entire movie, was that this is an action movie. Mm-hmm. The action was boring.
Boring as shit.
And I don't remember the last time I was so bored watching action.
I literally turned to you and said, holy shit, I'm getting bored with
this.
Yes,
I'm getting bored with this. And I couldn't disagree. I was like, there's a scene... with Deadshot, what's in the trailers, with Deadshot being a badass, that should be Will Smith murdering all these things.
That should be exciting.
Awesome. I should be like, fucking yeah, get him. And it's not. I'm like, how am I not in? It's shot so plainly and boring.
The only part that I thought was awesome was the bad guy destroying the subway system.
Yes, that's a really cool shot.
That was it. That was pretty much it.
But the rest of it, there's no like cool comic book fucking action hero moments of like, there's a couple, and then like when Flame Guy does flame stuff, but even those aren't shot that interestingly, or just, I was like, this action is not cool in a comic book movie, that's a problem.
Especially when the Flame Guy first, when Will Smith gets into burning things. I'm like, holy shit, this dude's gonna go off the rail. This is gonna look awesome. It's just like 2 shots of him burning things.
It's just him shooting, and it's like, how is this how is this not super freaking cool? Like, I don't get how this isn't blowing my mind. Not blowing my mind, but I'm not like, oh, this is fucking awesome. But it's not, and that's a big fail on a movie like this to not be killing me with how cool your action is. So yeah, it fell flat. And the jokes, we talked about a little bit, but it's not as funny as... some of them hit, but some of them feel very forced. And like you said, almost like they were added in later, to make it funnier, but they're also not that funny.
All I want, Hollywood, all I want from you, make characters drive with motivation.
Yes.
Don't just put them in situations where they're just there to be thrown around. Yeah,
and that's another big problem is, along with the motivations... and I guess could be because what I talked about earlier, because I felt the same way in BVS, was that it was so choppy. There's scenes kind of just happen, and then another scene happens, and then they're like, now this is happening, and it's just like it almost, a lot of it didn't seem to connect very well in space, and again, and maybe it's just I don't know if I've ever seen any of David Ayer's other films. I want to see Fury and I've seen Training Day a long time ago, but it's been forever. But I just not sure if he can do comic book action.
Yeah, because even Training Day, which had some shootout stuff, boring.
Yeah, it's just there was no cool moments. You just need those moments, and there's a couple, but they're so, even the cool ones aren't that cool.
I'm not gonna lie, the whole Margot Robbie thing where she was so pushed on this film of this is why you go to this film. Whatever.
I thought she was really good.
She was good, but the fact that they weighed so much on her kind of tipped over.
That should have been telling, because that's all they had.
That's sad.
I don't want to say that's all they had. I think I'm dumping on this more than I want to, but to an extent, that is a big selling point because the other characters are just there, and she's the only one with an interesting backstory and Deadshot a little bit, and that was a big thing. I wish they would have done more with her backstory because there's a cool scene which you've seen in the trailer with the Joker and stuff, and that stuff I thought was interesting because we haven't talked about it. Jared Leto's Joker, I thought was. I'm not a big fan of how he looks.
I thought it was spot on,
but he did a great job.
Yes.
It's Jared Leto. He's a great actor, but
is all he needs to do is. Be crazy.
Be crazy.
But what he does differently, like Jack Nicholson's Joker, he's crazy kind of with the intent of...
He has purpose.
He has purpose.
Yeah, he's not just... He's not chaos incarnate like Jared, which I love the Dark Knight Joker, but that's different. Sometimes you want to watch a world burn. This Joker is doing stuff for his own reasons, but he's also fucking crazy. And Jared Leto's great. And that's probably the best part of the movie, and he's only, spoilers, not in it very much. It's a bummer, man. I really wanted to like this movie, and our rating system is pretty black and white. Yes. So it's either good or bad. I have to give this a bad, and I don't want to.
Same here. I mean, it had such promise.
It just didn't. Flat. It didn't do it. It came and stumbled and tripped and fell, and I still have hope for the DC universe going forward because I think I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I really now with Jared Leto's Joker and Harley Quinn and Bruce and from BVS seeing Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm really excited for the standalone Batman film. Yes. I think that has all of the elements to be fantastic.
I gotta say, I love Ben Affleck as Batman.
He's great, and I argued this from the beginning. And I'm not even like a big Batman comic book. I don't read much of any comic books, a few here and there, but. I argued from the beginning. Everybody always shat all over Ben Affleck as Batman. And I'm like, is the last thing you ever saw Ben Affleck in like Armageddon? He's been doing great stuff for the last 5 years.
The Town?
Yes. And I'm like, I think he's going to be great. I think he can do it. And he is.
And if you want a good Suicide Squad film, just watch Assault on Arkham. It's the animated one. It's fucking amazing.
Okay.
And it's exactly what happens when bad guys get kind of... too much freedom to cut loose and just start killing people.
That sounds great. That sounds really fun. And because this one, man, I was way more bored than I thought I was gonna be. How can this movie be boring? When you watch the trailers, you're like, there's no way this could be boring. It's kind of boring. So yeah, I gotta give it a bad. If you're gonna see it in a theater. But don't. What this is to me is, if you're going to see this movie, you didn't need us to tell you to see this movie.
Yes.
And if you're worried about whether or not you're going to see this movie, don't.
Confirming your prejudice.
Yes, don't see it because it's not going to do anything that it's not like this gem of a movie that you might not have saw. Oh, you missed out on a good one. Like if you didn't see Ant-Man, like Ant-Man was great. I don't know if you saw Ant-Man. No, Ant-Man was great, and that was one you might have skipped if you're not. You see all the Iron Man and Captain America. You probably might not see Ant-Man. Ant-Man was fantastic. This isn't Ant-Man. This isn't that smaller movie. Like lesser known characters. That's awesome. It's just kind of mediocre at best. So that's gonna do it for good or bad. Unfortunately. Suicide Squad is bad, in our humble opinion. You may have a different opinion. If so, put it in the comments, and we'll tell you why you're wrong. No, you could like it. There are people that like it, I'm sure, and it's not terrible. It's just not good, in our opinion. So, until next time, keep watching movies, just not Suicide Squad. Sorry.